Okay, first computer on the bench is my GRiD Case 1520. This is a 286 system running at 10 megahertz. It has 1 megabyte of RAM, I believe, expandable up to 8. Has a serial and parallel port. Came stock with DOS 3.3. Has a beautiful 57 key keyboard, built-in 2400 baud modem for those high-speed downloads. 640 by 400 display, and it weighs in at extremely portable 12.7 pounds. Had an external battery that could run for about an hour, or an internal battery that ran for something around 20 minutes. Has a built-in 1.44 megabyte floppy, and I am not sure how big the hard drive is in here, as I've never opened it. Today we're going to be installing a new real-time clock battery that was recently made, and yeah, so this is going to require a full disassembly. And this computer was, one last spec here, this computer was made in 1988 and cost just north of $5,000 in 1988. If I can think of it, I'll put the adjusted dollars down at the bottom of the screen. So let's get busy. Okay, so we're going to get into this thing. Let's open her up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take these screws out. Go ahead and eject the power brick. This has to go, oh, I think that's enough. There we go. All right, da-na-na-na. All right, so you can see the ribbon cable right here. So we are gonna need to get that out before we try and lift away the LCD, which should just lift away. All right, there we go. Everything in this thing is super old. All right. LCD is free up, but there is a ground, which is probably not going to be visible to the camera, but it's right there. So let's get that off. So that's good. We'll set this over here, and this screw is exactly the same as the other two that are holding the back on, so that's great. All right, so this should just lift away. Yeah, there we go. All right, LCD panel is free. I'm gonna apply a little more force. Oh boy. And it is not broken. Interesting. Oh. This has a real-time clock battery in it that I'm going to have to replace. Interesting. This thing's already been modified, I think. So this should just very carefully lift right out of here. I am not seeing a Dallas clock chip in here anywhere. I was expecting it to be here, and I'm not seeing it there. And I may be totally mistaken. There's our processor, Harris 80C286. The C is the like a cost-reduced version or something along those lines. And check that out, pre-installed 8287 Mathco processor. Pretty freaking cool. Let's zoom in a little bit if we can. 287, 286. This chip here says 256K RAM, which is interesting. I'm not sure what that's for. And looks like there's a bunch of budge wire here to fix something. That's pretty common, honestly. So here's our various Faraday chips. I have no idea what any of these mean. I am not an electronics expert by any means. It's my first time opening one of these, in case you couldn't tell. So if we go up a little bit further, this chip right here says keyboard controller 21288. All right, so we're gonna take this keyboard off very gently. Oop, there we go. Now you can actually see what I'm doing. All right, so we pried that one off. All right, there we go. Keyboard should very carefully lift away. Okay. So at some point, this system was serviced. On the bottom of this computer, it says, oh, I don't have a flathead bit for my thingy there. So at some point, this system got a new bottom shell because the bottom of this computer indicates that it was actually a 386. Because there were two versions of the 1520. There was this model here, which is a 286, and there is also a 386 version. And I guess the cases are identical, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I don't know too much about these machines. Gently lift. Oop, all right, that works. And there is our daughter board. So this says tested 6/19/90 by XH. Way to go, XH, keeping this thing rocking and rolling. Well, this video was about me replacing the real-time clock, the Dallas clock, with a aftermarket one. And the thing is super cool. This was designed by a guy named Matthew Haggerty. You should be seeing some B-roll of it right now. And the idea was that you could take this and replace your Dallas clock with this unit, and then it would run off of a CR2032 coin cell battery. So unfortunately, this one is laid out in such a way that it doesn't look like I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to need to order a lithium cell, and thankfully this one hasn't leaked. It looks like it's been replaced at some point. It's actually in really good condition. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to get my voltmeter out, and we're going to put some probes on that and see what its output is. Because basically, well, with the real-time clock, when the battery died, basically this thing stopped working. So, and as you saw earlier, this machine does not post, and it also makes kind of a bzzz noise. My hope is that that's the hard drive, and that maybe I can whack it and get it to work. So at some point I think I'm gonna have to take the floppy drive here out and try and boot it without the floppy drive, maybe whack on the hard drive a couple times, see if I can get it to come alive. So we shall see. So we'll be back in just a moment with a voltmeter, and let's put some probes on this. So our positive lead is on this side, and our negative lead is over here. And we are getting, 2.15 volts. That's not terrible. That's out of 3.6 volts. I don't know if that's enough, but yeah, my guess is maybe we need to replace that. So let's go ahead and we're gonna push this button and take these ribbon cables out. Okay, one more. Easy day. And we're going to go ahead and take that screw out. Now this screw is a little different than some of the others, so we're going to just lift that away. This power board is going to need to come out. So let's take some screws out. We'll go ahead and take that one out. Okay, bam, and that's one of those common screws. And this board here seems like it's just pressed up against these two, so I'm going to need to very carefully remove this ribbon. And this ribbon is in here pretty tight, so I'm going to leave that one there for the moment. Oh, there's no way I'll pick this up on the camera because it is way down in there. And, oop, nope. Get that out of there. And my guess is it is not supposed to be done in that order. That's cool. There's a little rubber stopper there keeping it from touching things. You can actually just see the rubber there. Oh. Well, fine then. Guess I didn't need to do that after all, but this is now moving. And there are screws holding that in, but there is a lot of stuff in here. Oh, well, would you look at that? Okay, so that just lifted right out. There's the socket for it. So let's go ahead. All right, and this should, yep, this looks like it will just lift right out now. Oh, I see. I know this is socketed together. This is just going to lift out as a single unit then. I just had to grab it a little differently. All right, well, I am not going to put this computer back together because I need to order a PRAM/CMOS battery for this unit and see if that resolves the issue. And I'll put it all back together in part 2 of this video and see if we can get any farther. Maybe try a boot disk and go from there. Thanks for watching.